Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Thursday's edition of Morning Brews. My name, of course, is Ryan Smeltz, and today we are talking about looking for automation opportunities. Okay, so if you have enjoyed the past couple of ad-free, no intro, no credits Morning Brews episodes, let me know. I've also been uploading it at 100% speed instead of 1.2, so it is a little slower, same content, hopefully the same value. Let me know. Leave it in the comments or send us a message on the website. 3 bullet points for you today. Number 1, areas to automate. 2, reduces manual errors. And 3, frees up time. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. Areas to automate. The first one I have down there is invoicing. So currently, it's very possible that you have an admin or an office worker who goes through the people who owe you money, and maybe they create manual invoices for the goods and services that you have rendered for other businesses or people. And they create those, and then they put them into an email, and they send it over. So that's manual. There's also manual where you sit and handwrite it and hand it to the person. Both of those are fine. However, if you take a look at something like QuickBooks, number 1, your technician or employee can build the project inside of QuickBooks, and QuickBooks maintains your inventory, timesheets, and all of the different things that factor into the invoice, automatically generates the invoice, sends the invoice, requests payment by whatever deadline you set, and if it is not paid in time, sends a reminder as well as a notification to you. So it not only creates the invoice for you, but it handles the overall management of said invoice as well. So that's one example of automation. The next one I have is inventory. So this is a very, very easy thing to automate. I know a lot of people really like using spreadsheets. The truth is, as it relates to spreadsheets, and a lot of people use Excel, you're talking about software that is outdated by at least 5 to 10 years. And the reason I say that is because, number 1, Google Sheets exists. So if you are not I guess you could say anti-Google person, then Google Sheets is an excellent tool because you can create the spreadsheet on your computer. You can access it from anywhere. There's no need to upload it to the cloud. It already exists there. You can make it available offline. You can access it on your phone, and you can download any format you may need, such as comma separated value, in order to upload to another platform, such as Shopify, Amazon, eBay, Walmart.com, or any of those. So that's just one step closer. In addition to that, if you use Google Sheets, you go to Tools. There's a button called App Sheet. So after you create your inventory spreadsheet in Google Sheets, or drag and drop the Excel file in, convert it to a Google Sheet spreadsheet, you click the App Sheet button, it will take your spreadsheet and automatically format it into your own app that you can use. In addition to that, you can go to App Sheet Sample Apps, type in the word inventory, and probably find one that already does what you want it to do. And you can customize that app. I would recommend approaching with caution. It is a no-code platform in order to build, develop, and manage apps. However, there are expressions involved. So if you're not a computer person, you may want to go ahead and use it. You may not. Maybe you want to get somebody else to do it. That's fine too. Outside of basically creating your own inventory management system, there are things that already exist, such as Square in the restaurant industry. There's one called Toast. There is Shopify. So if you run an e-commerce website and you're finding that you're having to get payment processors, you're having to purchase a domain, an SSL certificate for your website, have somebody build and manage your website, create your inventory, list your inventory on your website, or maybe you run a business in the retail space and you don't have e-commerce set up on your own website. Maybe you sell on Facebook, Amazon, eBay, but you don't have a place to sell and process your stuff on your website. This is not only a good opportunity to automate your inventory, but you can also migrate your website over to Shopify. Shopify manages all that for you. So you can put your inventory in there, you can list it, you can even create buy buttons where you can place those buttons on other people's websites. If you write blog articles or send out emails, you can do that. Shopify has email marketing built into it. There's pretty much everything you need in order to run e-commerce inside of Shopify, as well as connecting to those external platforms such as Amazon, eBay, pretty much anywhere you can sell your products. So that takes care of the inventory aspect, as well as consolidates and automates a lot of your other processes, and it's very affordable as well. So that's something to definitely consider when it comes to inventory and e-commerce as far as automation goes. Customer service. So I believe one of the most popular customer service automations, I can't think of the name right now. Oh, it's Zendesk. So Zendesk is really popular. I'm not super familiar with the customer service space. So as far as automating, I would say that you could get something such as Uma Office to automate your inbound and outbound calls. Well, I guess more so your inbound calls. A lot of people are super anti-recording. They're like, when it comes to customer service for my business, I want a real person to answer the phone. The great thing about something such as Uma Office, which is a voice over IP service, however, to pick up any phone in any office anywhere, you're not going to find your old-fashioned telephone line connected to the back of it. It's going to be an Ethernet cord. So probably, this is a totally speculative number, but I would say about 80 to 90% of business phone services are voice over IP at this point, and have been for some time. So if you still have the old-fashioned telephone cord connected to the back of the phone, then not only are you lacking in opportunity, but it's also difficult to scale as well as automate your customer service aspect. So voice over IP, you're talking about opportunities for people to work from home, as well as when a call comes into the office, they can easily transfer or conference another person in. You can connect it to your CRM, so when someone calls in, it automatically captures and logs the data or updates an existing contact. You can see who's calling, when the last time is they called. I know plenty of business owners not only have it connected to their CRM, but their CRM is their entire business suite, managing their service calls and calendars and things like that. So they can see all the data on existing customers when they call in, and on new customers when they call in. The person taking the phone call goes in and updates all of the information. And so next time they call in, they'll be able to see all of that. So from a customer service aspect, getting a voice over IP phone service is something that just opens the floodgates for possibilities. It's also a pretty big reduction in cost if you have multiple telephones, because it is possible that in a back room somewhere you have some sort of switchboard, especially if you're on old-fashioned telephone lines, or if you are on more of a hardware-based VoIP service or voice over IP. You want to move to more of a software base where, of course, you can still have the hard phone lines, but it's on your computer, because if you have one of those switchboards in, say, a back closet or something, then those things can be extremely expensive to replace if anything does happen to them. And I'm sure they're extremely difficult to install and uninstall and move in any case you get a different or new location. Not only that, but if you expand and you get a second location, then you either got to fork over $5 or $10 grand to get one of those boards, or you could just use a software-based phone system. So that's pretty much my experience with automating the customer service aspect. I do kind of like Zendesk. I've used it as a customer before. I think it depends on how they have their workflows set up in the background. You could also use a virtual assistant to handle your customer service. That would definitely be an option. I would be careful because if they're going to be talking on the phone, then maybe especially if your business is based in the U.S., maybe you want your virtual assistant based in the U.S. I would say the same if your business was based over in Germany. You might want your virtual assistant to be fluent in primarily German, and probably have the traditional accent as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. If they're on email or chat, then it's not 100% necessary that they be fluent, as we have things like Grammarly, autocorrect, spell check. On chat, it may be more of a concern than on email, but on email, you can even have them responding and scheduling to send, where you or one of your primary customer service reps can go in and check behind them later on. So that's just a few different options. It's kind of funny, I spent more time on that talking about it and said I didn't have a lot of experience. But in addition to that, you have bookkeeping and sales as well. Bookkeeping we kind of already talked about from the aspect of QuickBooks. Keep in mind that QuickBooks has multiple different solutions for many different businesses and business sizes. So they have T-Sheets, which is like the time clock app, which I do not personally care for. I actually like When I Work as it relates to time clock. That's just my preference. We're actually building and integrating our own time clock into the app that we use for our company. But for the time being, I use When I Work, and it works. So I like it. As far as sales, once again, coming back to e-commerce, basically have something listed. If you use Shopify, you're talking about your payment processor already being there. It already exists. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay an additional fee. Your customer doesn't have to navigate away from your website to pay for something, such as when you use PayPal to check out, even though you can still use PayPal and you can integrate as many different payment processors as you want. When I first set up my website through Shopify, I was capable of receiving everything for payment up to cryptocurrency, like multiple different types of coins. So just keep that in mind. Like, the possibilities are endless, but you don't have to sit there and click a button or go through it. You can set it up that you manually approve payments and do certain reviews. If your sales volume is high, you may want to go through that just to kind of check and make sure that no fraud or anything suspicious is happening. Especially because if a fraudulent transaction takes place on your payment processor, you may be risking not being able to use that payment processor. So, but all the way up to automatically approving, and then your sales are automated. The customer can go to your website. They can find your own Shopify. You can put up digital downloads. You can put physical products. Anything you want. They purchase it. The order comes through. If it's a physical product you have to ship out, you get a notification, you get an email, you get a text message. Next morning when you're picking and packing your orders, take it down, slap the label on it, send it out the door. And all your shipping labels, everything comes through Shopify, same discounted rates as Stamps.com. But instead of an additional subscription, it's just right there in the existing one you have. So super easy, very automated. As far as outside of e-commerce, maybe you have a class or a course. Of course, there literally isn't anything you can't do on Shopify, but you can do pretty much all the same stuff on Shopify as you could do on GoDaddy or WordPress as well. GoDaddy and WordPress are a little bit more complicated than Shopify. Shopify is more designed to be user-friendly. WordPress is designed more for developers who want the freedom to maybe do the same thing 6 different ways, if that makes any sense. But as far as the, automating it, if you have a course or a webinar or something you're selling or just trying to get people to, and I was actually talking to someone about this yesterday. You could basically set up a ClickFunnels site. ClickFunnels is the same thing as Shopify and WordPress. The biggest difference is ClickFunnels is specifically a website designed to create that funnel, to cast a wide net and capture a large audience in your niche that funnels them down and takes them from a potential prospect to a closed sale. So that is one other option outside of regular e-commerce, like selling items, that you could definitely use to automate your sales process. So I'm at I'm at 15 minutes already. I'm going to touch on the last two really quick. Number one, reduces manual errors. So this is something we've been working on for a long time. We're creating an app. It does reduce and eliminate manual errors. However, in building our own app and putting together the expressions on the back end, one thing you have to keep in mind is you may see errors surface that don't actually exist. And what I mean by that is I have user input and then I have an expression that automatically calculates something. So maybe it's taking this number 100 and dividing it by 4 to get 25, and what you see in the app is 26. Okay, that's not an actual error. All I got to do is go in the expression, change the expression to be correct, divide by 4, and then 25 will show up as long as this input hasn't been changed. So that's just something to keep in mind. In automating your processes, you may start to see errors surface. A lot of people are opposed to changes, and they're opposed to changes that automate their processes, that are new technology, and I get it, I do. I once met someone who used a computer in an office environment and had 3 different web browsers. And they said, I use that one to Google stuff, I use that one for my email, and I use that one for our office suite or system, in-house system. And I tried to explain that obviously they don't need 3 different web browsers. Of course, you can still have them on your computer, but you don't need to use more than one. And they just weren't having it. They were like, my IT guy said that. I don't know whether or not that was true. If it was, I might fire that guy. But, I understand the hesitation to approach new technology. However, if you want to build, if you want to scale, if you want to run a successful business in 2021, not only is it absolutely necessary, but as a business owner, if you can't learn new things, I'm not sure you're going to survive in your industry. There are so many changes taking place right now in so many different industries, and it's the same with the automated cashiers at the grocery store and big box retailers. People say, oh no, cashiers are losing their job. And we all know that they only ever had one lane open to begin with. However, my argument was, if you are a cashier and you're concerned in losing your job, I would spend as much time as possible learning as much as you possibly can about that automated machine, because when it goes down and you're able to fix it, you may not get a raise or new position or any kind of special treatment outside of the fact that when they needed 10 cashiers and now they only need 1 to run the entire system, they're going to keep the person who is able to fix the problems when they arise. So if the other 9 are standing there on their PDAs or their phones and just touching buttons, and you got 2 lanes down over here because they have some sort of system error, and you could just pop that sucker open, flip a switch, push it close, and it works, then you're going to be the one that gets to stick around. The same thing applies to business owners. If you don't move forward with the technology and the automation, such as what I'm talking about today, then eventually you're going to get left in the dust. The last time frees up your time. Right now, I have, pretty much everything post-wise, video-wise, content-wise, automated, both on this platform and the Veteran Talk Show. So I don't have to sit there and manually, at 11 a.m., I don't publish this myself. It automatically goes out. So I'm off doing other things. I'm handling my business. I'm training my guys. I'm scaling the operation. So keep those things in mind. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. It's been 20 minutes. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't already, be sure to leave us a 5-star review. It helps out the channel, it helps out the show, and we want to help other business owners. This gets our show exposure, which in turn puts these pieces of content in front of those business owners, and hopefully they can learn something as you have. If you enjoy the show and you want to hear more of it, make sure to subscribe or click follow. If you're watching on Facebook, you'll get those notifications. Both of the videos and podcasts have been on Facebook for some time now. So I have the audio version and the video version on Facebook of this show and the Veteran Talk Show. But be sure to subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and tell your friends to subscribe as well. My name, of course, is Ryan Smeltz, and I will see you on tomorrow's episode of Morning Brews.